Go. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my beautiful followers and all the listeners out there, as well as Miss Anita's listeners and friends and supporters out there. It's your girl AniYa, and we made it. Guys, it's been a very testy evening. And as you all know, I usually put forward a beautiful, intro and things of that nature. And I share latest updates and topics. But this evening, something happened. And you know what? I'm so happy that something happened with the beautiful goddess herself, with the one and only Miss Anita Kopacz, right? Who's here to share with us so many things about her wonderful and amazing life. And as so many of you have been waiting to hear her story, listen to why she wrote the amazing book, Shallow Waters, we're here live in the AniYa studios to share more. And also, before we even get started, if it's okay, I do want to read that bio. We're not doing the regular thing, but I want to read this woman's beautiful bio. Miss Anita, I want to read it and let the people know more about you. Is that okay, ma'am? Yes? Excellent. So let's do this, guys, because
yes.
Perfect. Let me go ahead and pull that up and welcome Miss Anita. Welcome. And thank you for your patience with me today. Here we go, everybody. Thank you so much, you guys. Send in your comments and your concerns. Let the people know that you are watching the AniYa show, and we have Miss Anita with us, who is going to share much more of her life, her story. And as we're pulling up her information, it's been a long and wild day. Let's say congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the one and only beautiful sister who just had her baby today, Miss Keke Palmer. Literally just welcomed a baby boy, a bouncing baby boy, and I couldn't be more proud of Miss Keke Palmer. So many people have downed that sister, but I'm here to say congratulations, welcome to the world, little man, and you're gonna have fun with your mom. With that being said, let's jump right into it, and let's talk about Miss Anita Kopacz, who is with us tonight. Who is she, you may wonder? Anita Kopacz is the author of the Simon & Schuster fiction novel, Shallow Waters. It is the second title that Charlamagne the God released on his imprint, Black Privilege Publishing. Anita is the former editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine and managing editor of Beauty Sense magazine. She is an award-winning writer, a spiritual psychologist, and a certified Tantra coach with a passion to see people thrive. Anita also created the nonprofit Zero F's Given, which I have seen around town, and she's wearing it now. She's a wonderful branding manager. I love it, honey. Wear it. Zero F's Given to raise awareness and help victimized and disenfranchised populations heal from sexual trauma, find their voice, and reclaim their power. She has helped thousands of victims through her work with Zero F's Given and being on the board for the Center of Safety and Change. It also says that through leading retreats around the world with the Goddess Wisdom Council, working with private clients in storytelling, Anita fulfills her intention to awaken the divine simplicity, pleasure, and joy in her life and others. Welcome, Miss Anita Kopacz.
Thank you so much. We did it. We made it happen.
Did it. And ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea. You know, when you're determined to do something, you're going to make it happen. This is my backup device that I'm utilizing tonight that I haven't utilized. And you're going to laugh, Miss Anita, in over a year. And we're here.
It's working.
It's working. And we have a lot of people that have been waiting to hear from you this evening. So Miss Anita, thank you again. Welcome. You look wonderful.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you.
I feel good. I'm excited to be here and I love your energy. So it feels good to be here.
Thank you so much, my dear. I'm so excited because when I met you and when we met just less than about 2 weeks ago or so, it was just so profound that you spoke of something so beautiful, and we're going to get to that a little bit later in the show. But for right now, I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about Miss Anita that we haven't read about, that I haven't spoken about just yet.
Okay, so let's see. I would love to share about little Anita.
Yes, yes.
So it's so funny. I actually have a picture of myself over there, but you know, it's I don't have let me grab it really quick because
No
since
problem.
I spoke about it.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So I have this picture of myself.
Aw.
So little Anita has been very present with me this week.
Okay.
Because I did this exercise with I do these monthly calls called the Rebirth with the Goddess Wisdom Council, and I did this exercise with them where I basically brought people into their little selves, like thinking of like a positive memory from when you were younger, and then I had them look like your little self, look at your big self now, like who you are now, and say what you're in awe of.
Wow.
And I was in awe of myself for writing this novel because as a young one, I mean, still now I have dyslexia. And, you know, I literally have to say, okay, Anita, we read from left to right. Like my brain wants to take it all in at the same time. And sometimes reverses things. And so I have to just slow down and be like, okay, left to right. And the fact that like little Anita, who had such a hard time reading, became an editor-in-chief of a magazine, is writing novels, books, right? It's like she was just in awe. And so I highly recommend that exercise because, you know, I think for children who do have certain things like different learning, I don't even like to say disabilities because I think it's a part of why I'm magic, right?
Yes.
So
it's your beautiful ability. Yes.
My beautiful abilities. And, you know, being able to figure things out when my brain works so differently is it really helps us look at things with different perspectives in all ways. Always. And so yeah, so that was something that I haven't really shared.
Well, can I ask you something? Do you think that and welcome to those new people that are joining us live on Instagram as well. You guys send in your comments, your questions. I know you all have been waiting for this interview. So we're here live now and we're listening to Miss Anita share about little Anita, Miss Little Anita. And I love that. Do you think that, yes, ma'am, there it is. There it is. Do you think that little Anita's different abilities helped push you to be the person you are today? Because some people, because they have to work harder, I found they do extraordinary because of these differences.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's also funny because, you know, it's really the thing that was the hardest for me, you know, like writing and things. It's so funny that I ended up doing that in life because I was actually really good at science and math. I did civil engineering in college. And so it's all so funny that I ended up doing what I would consider the worst at, right? So
yes, ma'am.
It's very humbling, right? It's very humbling.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm always fighting well, not always, but I have fought that the imposter syndrome, right? Because I'm like, oh, well, I'm just not good enough. And you know, kind of like, why am I doing what I'm worst at?
Yes.
It's like, take the easy road. What's wrong with you?
I know the feeling so well. And it's funny because I'm totally opposite. For those that are tuning in now, this is something that a lot of people may struggle with and they don't, verbalize. I'm totally opposite, where I never was good at math and science and all of that. And I utilized my most powerful gift, which was speaking and writing. And so now I'm like, wow, but you've pushed yourself so much farther. And that's just so beautiful, because people that are typically great at math and science, they stay away from writing, from speaking, from all of those things.
Oh, I stayed away. I stayed away until I was a senior in college.
Wow.
And I was like, they were like, you need to take freshman English. I was like, oh, and they're like, if you're going to graduate, you need to take freshman English. I took it, and that teacher made me fall in love with storytelling.
Wow.
Like, it was that teacher that did that for me.
And maybe it was always inside of you, and especially after what you've been through and have seen in your life. And that's another reason why tonight is so special. Thank you for all those that are signing in and sending comments now. People are saying that they love what's happening here live. I have a few people, my brother Robert shared the platform, Frank Owusu shared the platform. So you guys keep sharing with all of your friends, please, and let the people know that Miss Anita is sharing some real important things. Now, Miss Anita, I know that you're a spiritual psychologist, and for those that may not grasp that, but like storytelling, psychology, getting into the mind, that goes all hand in hand. When did you know that you wanted to be a spiritual psychologist, or even be in the world of psychology, since you're sharing, what little Anita went through? When was that revelation brought to you?
Yeah, well, I'll share the story that I shared with you at the Brooklyn Public Library.
Yes.
So when I was in college, so when I was 18, I just started college. I can go into it a little bit longer. How long is the show? Can I tell the story?
Yes. Matter of fact,
Okay.
It's all up to you how long you can be on
Okay.
here, because you have so much to share, and I didn't want to cap you off.
Right.
Let's get into it, because we have people joining that are definitely interested. So let's make it happen, sister.
All right. So I'm going to tell the story really quickly. So I was in college, and I was walking to school, and all of a sudden I started hearing voices, and I was like, oh, dang. Right. Like, am I going crazy? Right. Like, that's all I've heard. If you hear voices, that means you're going crazy. Right.
Exactly.
I was like, oh man. And the voices were not saying nice things, right? They were not saying nice things. So what I did, instead of completely panic, I just was like, okay, well, these voices don't sound like my voice. And they're saying things that I've never thought before.
Can you share? Because you never did really share some
what they said. Yes. So I remember this one voice was like basically saying, I want to kill my parents.
Wow.
This has never even crossed my mind. Wow. Right. Like, and so I was like, well, that doesn't even sound like me, So I was like, what is this? And I slowed down, and I realized, because I was walking while this was happening.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
realized that as I was passing people, the voices would come, and then they would go subside. And I was like, wait a minute. Am I hearing what people are thinking? Wow. Right. I was like, is this possible? And so I was, being aware of it, and the voices were changing. And so I was like, okay, this is weird. I get to class and I hear someone crying. And I was like, okay, I don't see anyone crying, but I know that it's this woman sitting in front of me, and I know something happened to her 3 days before.
Wow. And
that she's going to be okay. So I said, excuse me, I know something happened to you 3 days ago, but you're going to be okay. What I didn't know was that her girlfriend, who was sitting right next to her, I didn't know them, but her girlfriend was sitting right next to her, had cheated on her. And that's what she was crying about, and in her head. Right. Wow. So they told that to my friend after I left, because I was just overwhelmed. I was like, I have to go. I have to leave, because I'm hearing things. I can't hear the teacher speaking. So I walk home, and both of my sisters went to Berkeley before I did. That's where I went, UC Berkeley in California.
Okay.
And both of my sisters went there before me. And my oldest sister was friends with a lot of the houseless people, homeless people. And so there was one that was standing outside of our house, and I was walking up, and he was saying something. I couldn't hear what he was saying. He's smiling, and all I hear is, "I don't know where my wife and kids are."
I remember that.
Yep. And I was like, "I know you don't know where your wife and kids are." And he like basically like grabs me, and he was like, "What? Where are they?" And I was like, "No, I can hear you saying, I don't know where my wife and kids are." And he's like, "I didn't say that." And he's like yelling. And so I pull myself basically from out of him, and I run upstairs, and I just start praying. I was like,
Wow.
"God, if this is supposed to be a gift, I don't want this gift. I don't know what this is for, what good this could, like, I remember when I was younger and I used to wish I could read people's minds.
Yes, we
And,
all.
no, once I had that experience, I was like, I don't, people's minds. Like, what? It was crazy. So I did this whole prayer. And once I did that prayer, literally all of the voices went away. And then I had a dream that night that I was throwing stones, and I was reading the stones. And so from that's when I started doing readings, because I was like, well, Spirit is telling me to throw stones. So that's how my reading started. But eventually I just didn't need anything. I could just do it.
Wow. And you shared a story about your mother. Welcome everybody that's tuning in to this powerful story. You share a story about your mother and your grandmother going to the ocean. What age what age were you? Because I know in the spiritual world, especially because you write about that, and we're going to get into the book very shortly. In the spiritual world, the ocean is super huge for those that don't know. And there's definitely different reasons for that. But what age did you see your mom and your grandmother going to the ocean and praying and just, delighting, I guess, with the ancestors and being a part of that world?
Yes. So, I mean, you're Caribbean as well. So,
Yes, big time.
Yes. So, my family in the Caribbean are Methodist. And
Wow.
so, when my grandmother would go to the ocean, so she would do it before I was even born. This is when my mom was little. Go to the ocean before the sun would come up, and she would pray as the sun is rising on the ocean. So everyone would call her Obia woman, right?
Ah, yes, Obia. Yes, Lord.
They would call her that, but she was still in the church and everything. But she was like, I have to be at the ocean as the sun is rising, because that's like she would pray there. And so I was like, okay, when I figured that, I was like, well, that's YEMAYA right there, right? In the ocean. And whether she had the words for her or not, she felt that she had to be there to pray every morning.
Every morning.
And so what we eventually found out, because I did our African ancestry, is that on my grandmother's side, going back, we are Yoruba and then Hausa as well. But Yoruba, that's where YEMAYA comes from. Who my book Shallow Waters is about, the Orisha YEMAYA.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And we're going to get into Miss YEMAYA. For those that don't know, you're going to break it all down. And we're not going to give too much of the book. The reason for this interview, too, is to really get to know you better as someone who is literally sharing such a powerful story. And I can't even begin to express how within a few minutes of reading, when you all get the book and you read for yourself, you'll understand what I'm about to say. Matter of fact, Anita, I have goosebumps all over my body. Yeah, I promise you.
I love it.
I'm telling you, I am literally full of goosebumps because when I listened to her voice through your writing, it did something to me. as you all know, we came from Africa. We all did, you know, especially us colored folks and things like that. Some of us are biracial, triracial, whatever. But the premise is we all came from the African woman, actually,
Yes.
every race, right? And when I read, you know, this story, and I just fell in love with what was happening, because the ocean is so significant and so powerful and so beautiful. And we don't even understand all the dynamics to it, and we take it for granted. But you chose to bring life to those things in the ocean and the ocean within itself.
Yeah.
And that to me is beyond describable, because they brought us here on these ships. Let me not go too deep. Tell us more.
Let's go deep.
Let's
Why
go
not?
deep. Because I can tell you now, like, tonight is one of those nights, and I feel YEMAYA, I feel our ancestors, and I'm Haitian, and a lot of people don't know my background, and I've hid it for so long. And I shared a little bit with you in your inbox, and it's because I didn't want people to label me and call me a freak. But I find so much power in you, Anita. I find so much power in you, because the average person doesn't have the strength, the balls, the kahunas, or any of it to share what you're sharing about yourself. And in writing this, paying homage. And that's why I want us to go deeper, if you will allow it, because
Yes.
what
Let's go deep. I'm a mermaid. I love depth.
you
So
love it. Yes, because you were definitely down deep in this book, honey.
yes.
I felt it. So let's talk about it then. What gave you the courage, since you want to go deep and I want to go deep with you too? What gave you the courage, Anita, to write such a piece? And I keep looking up, and I have to share, because I wonder if you're wondering why I keep looking up. Our screen is not completely visible here, but you're on a like 95-inch screen. So I'm gonna take a picture of it and I'm gonna send it to you. So I keep looking up, forgetting. But it's beautiful, because you look so much more beautiful on this huge screen that I'm looking at. You're just radiating. But okay, let's go deep, because in your interviews, you don't go and share like those intimate things that maybe we need to know, because people like you are so courageous. So what gave you that courage and that stamina and the tenacity to go so deep when everybody else steers away from their truth?
So, you know, it definitely felt like my ancestors were with me on this journey, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
and one yes. And one of the things that I've witnessed and I've seen, so it's not, you know, obviously it's not just me. I've seen a few people sharing our stories, our ancestral stories, and what I realize when I see that, it is that courage, because our history is demonized, because all of our mythology, our stories, our gods and goddesses, everything has been demonized. So if we talk about it, it's like we said, the Obia woman, the devil, or, you know, how they want to label voodoo as evil. And so, you know, all of these, you know, YEMAYA in Haiti is La Sarine, right? And so, you know, she was in all of the different places where our people were dropped off in the Americas. They, you know, she basically, we all have different versions of her.
Yes.
And so we, you know, different parts have survived, but the story of YEMAYA, of this Black mermaid who watched over our souls as we went over the Middle Passage, this story is ancient. She is ancient. And, you know, the oldest written accounts were like in the 1400s or the 1500s, when the enslaved Africans were taken over the Middle Passage.
Yeah.
But before that, all of the stories were passed down orally.
Yes.
For generations after generations after generations. So she is an ancient being, that, you know, is here, and one of the messages she kept giving me as I was writing it, because I wanted to make sure I was paying homage to her, paying homage to the people who still follow her. There are millions of people who are still within the religion, who follow her around the world.
Yep.
And so I wanted to make sure I was not disrespecting anyone. And what she told me was, I'm rising. My daughters are rising. And so I was like, oh, I have chills right now, because I'm like, your daughters are rising. She was like, and it's not going to look just like the religion. There's going to be people feeling me who are not in the religion, right? And they're just like, oh my gosh, I feel you. And what do I do, right? Like, and she was like, I want it to be busted wide open, right? Like, this is who I am.
Yes.
And so what happened, I mean, the amount of Black mermaid stories that came out at the same exact time. Little Mermaid turned Black, right? With Disney. Shallow Waters. And there were so many other stories, like novels that came out at the same time within the same year, in 2020, 2021. They all came out at the same time. I was like, okay.
That is so powerful. And we have somebody watching now. I don't know if Madeline is still watching. She actually is she's like Haiti's like #1. I don't want to call her a historian, because she's like literally just turning, the big 4-0, but she's watching now, and she knows so much. So chime in, please, Madeline. I'm going to text her to tell her to chime in as well, because she's watching now on Instagram. And Daki Rose, Daki is watching as well. She just said, good evening, ladies. Good evening to you, sister, and all of you that are watching. As you were sharing, I was getting emotional, because everybody else shares our stories. And what happens is they make it so bad for us to share our own stories. And I'm getting all teary up, because they know who we are. They know everything about us, yet they don't give us the credit. And we are YEMAYA's children. We are Frida's children. I don't know if you know who Frida is. I don't know if you know certain things, which we'll talk about offline.
Okay.
I
would love to know.
Yes, you will know. And I will share more with you, like I said, offline, because I'm not ready to share with the world everything I know and everything I've experienced, especially with my Haitian parents watching. They're probably like, don't you start, don't you start.
Yeah.
But they always made it so taboo. And with Haiti being Haiti, and you said it, right? All of the ancestors and all of the goddesses, they traveled with us from the motherland. They were our protectors for those that survived that passage. And you hit the nail on the head when you said, now is the grand rising for them. It's been 400 years since, remember, 1619. 2019. That's probably
when it all started. Yep. Yes. Oh my gosh, I just got chills.
I have it all over me, because as you were talking, because it was such a big thing for the mermaid to be Black all of a sudden. And Disney caught hell, but they had to do it. And they stuck with it. I don't want to go too far off, but remember the 1919, 1619, 1719, 1819, we might have to figure out every 19 what really went down, because that was her grand rising, I feel like.
Yeah.
And you literally buckled down. You said it took 7 years to write this book.
It took 7 years it's 2 of those years I wasn't writing, but I keep that in there because it was what is it when you have writer's block? But what happens to me, what I realized with writer's block, is that I had to grow myself in order to understand what was coming next in the story. So I always keep those years in. And so, like there's a lot of things I just like to put in the whole time, especially since YEMAYA's number is 7. So from from the thought to it being published was 7 years, right? And so I was like, okay, YEMAYA. And the thing is that it was so strong, like 2020, I was like, this book needs to come out. It needs to come out. It's time. And I was doing everything. Like I said, I was like trying to like self-publish it because I was like, the time is now. So either someone's going to jump on it or I'm going to do it. Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And so I was in the process of doing it. And then that's when, Yadi, my bestie,
for
went
20 years.
For 20 years, went to the ocean, and over 20 years now.
Wow.
Tomorrow's her birthday.
Oh my God, happy birthday, Yadi. I feel like I know her. And let me just share this. Mexico, and Haiti, the Caribbean, Aztec and Indians, I pay homage to my Mexican people. And notice something too, Haiti and Mexico are always categorized as like the shithole countries. They're in that category. That's because they hate us so much, but that's neither here nor there. Happy birthday, Mari.
Well, it's
tomorrow. Yadi.
Tomorrow.
Yadi.
And when you think of the power that's in Haiti and in Mexico, I mean,
I forgot that part.
Our Haitian family are the only ones, not the only, the first.
Yes.
So really, it feels like really the only who got their independence. Like it was unheard of at that point, right?
Yeah.
And so it just has been like the amount of hate that is still being directed is because of the power.
Absolutely.
And it's very interesting because it's like, okay.
And the same goes for Mexico with the border.
Yeah.
How do you take a people from their land and then take everything from them and then tell them that they can't come back into their land? This was their land.
It was their land. California, especially.
It's so much to unpack. And that's why I had to do this with you tonight, because, the more I listened to you, my dear, it was the more I was like, nobody seems to want to talk about this. Nobody paid homage the way you have. Yes, Beyonce referenced our sister, in her music, but everybody demonizes Beyonce now.
Right.
If you notice. And I think that's why a lot of people are afraid, but you are like, not afraid. Not afraid.
I feel like my ancestors are with me. I mean, I've had, and I'm not afraid of the people who are demonizing. For me, it's more of, I want to be able to give homage, and to honor the people who are still keeping the practice alive, the honoring alive of these Orisha and gods and goddesses.
I feel you. And on this Motivational Monday, right? Because that's the platform that we are on right now, the Motivational Monday moments. Share with those that may be afraid, Anita. And that's where I get emotional. Share with those that are afraid, that have had so much abuse, mental, physical, emotional. People don't get them. People label them. People say they're crazy. People say that they're never going to be anything. People that hate people that are different. Mm-hmm. Share with those that may be just like me. And I say that openly because people see me, they see the makeup, they see the hair, they hear the story, but they don't know how much fear I have on the inside. And I'm slowly breaking down that wall.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me just check in and see what message I have. So to me, fear has been misunderstood. That rather than running from it, it is our antenna towards what we need to go towards to feel the liberation. right? Like as soon as you feel fear of something, it's like, oh, that means turn towards it. And what is it? What am I really seeing? And once you really look fear in the eye, that the part that is scary goes away and the exciting part stays, right? Because once you look it in the eye and you name it, it has no power over us anymore. And I remember, I think we were talking earlier, and I was saying how once I shared the one thing I was so scared for anyone to know, once I shared it publicly, I mean, I was so scared to share it publicly. And this was me being molested when I was 7. So, which now it's like, there's no weight on it. But the first time I shared it, I mean, I was sweating, my armpits were, like it was like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to share it. It felt like I had to for my own healing.
And can I ask you, because I'm going to be open with my story. I was molested as well. And I want tonight to be about healing, because I never have shared this publicly, right? You know what's so funny, Anita? And for anybody watching, and there's going to be people who's going to watch later, we are the victim, but they victimize us over and over and over again. Like we did the wrong thing for just existing. And tonight, this is my healing, because Anita has given me strength. What
This
gave you
is so powerful and so brave for you to do right now. I literally feel the chills all over my body, because whatever you are releasing right now, you are flying after this. You are flying after this.
I need to, because this has been holding me up, because I talk to people that have been abused, and I can comfort them and share with them while I hide my secret. And then I'm like, why am I hiding something that happened to me?
Yeah. And as you move through your journey of healing, there's so many things where it's like, I've realized that moment activated something inside of me.
Tell us about it.
So powerful. So indeed, now, but I've gone through a lot of healing, just so you know. Indeed, now I can look at it as a blessing. It feels like a blessing to me. And, there's different categories, right? We can say the victim, the survivor. And what I've decided I am is I'm a thriver.
Yeah.
Right. So when people say, are you a victim? Would you rather be called victim, survivor? I'm like, I'm a thriver.
Thriver. Right. Yes. Yes. I love that.
I'm a thriver. And as painful as the process of, I mean, it took me so long to really, really dive into my healing process. So I probably didn't until I was 40.
Yeah.
And so
I'm 40 now. Oh my God.
Of course.
Of course. Wow.
Of course. And so it is a powerful, powerful process once we decide to. One of my healers said, why it feels so scary for us to heal is because in order to do it, he was like, imagine that that the trauma is, if we want to think of it as like a tricycle, a red tricycle, right? And that we used to ride when we were younger. And then it was put away in our, grandmother's garage, right?
Yes.
And he's like, in order to clear that, we have to take the tricycle out of the garage and ride it around the block. So that's what makes it so scary, is because when we decide to heal that part of us, we actually are feeling everything we went through, right? Everything comes up. And so it feels overwhelming, because we're like, oh my God, I survived. And I tried to put all that behind and I tried to hide it. But when we decide that we're going to heal it and we ride that tricycle around the block, we can let that shit go. And it's really let go.
Let go.
Yeah.
I'll never forget for me, and I'm having the courage, and my sister Madeline is still watching, thank God, because I'm like, I love this young lady so much, and I hope she's here, and she is. For me, and I'll share with you all too, I come from the Haitian background that we've talked about, and you come from St. Kitts.
St. Kitts, yes.
We're like all like, in this together with the island thing, and it's so taboo.
Yes.
To talk about. So tonight, let's do this before we go any further. Madeline says, thank you, sis. I'm so brave and so bold.
Yes,
I get my boldness and my braveness from those who did it before. And before we came on air, I think too, that was a part of this process tonight. I feel it. What are the odds my computer decides to do this as we're going on live after everything was okay? I checked everything, we were good to go. And it was within that 15 to 20 minute period of Anita and I connecting, right?
Yep.
That I asked her, how did she become so brave to share this story and to let people know about something that we hold so sacred? And she shared about her molestation. So tonight, if you're watching, let's turn this into a power move, right? We have a healer here. She's a spiritual psychologist. She's an author. But more than that, I feel like you're an empath too, Anita. I feel like you feel people, you hear people,
Yes. Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
you all need any services, if you need any guidance, if you need somebody to speak with, reach out to us, a sexual abuse hotline, but also know that Anita has her goddess retreats that we're gonna put up in just a few minutes for anybody that may need a goddess retreat, who may need extra support, because it's necessary. And I want to also share, right, Anita, because you said we could get deep.
Yes, we can.
We as Black women are often put down so much for having feelings, for being human. And I'm sick and tired of being strong. Anita, I don't know if you feel the same way, but we're always the ones who have to be so damn strong for everybody.
Yeah.
And we're not able to have emotions and feel. So tonight, I want to let all you beautiful women know out there, and you men too, but mostly us, that we need to be freed.
Yes. Yes. And free ourselves, because no one else is putting us in chains right now. And it's as much as it's so funny because it feels like, I know it feels like when I speak, it's a dichotomy, because, we can talk about how we are in chains still, but at the same time, when we drop into the power of who we are, right? And especially as Black women, we are God.
Yes.
Right? We are the mothers of creation. Every single being came from a Black woman. Every single being came from a Black woman. And so as a realized spiritual Black woman being, you are God. And yes, that might sound crazy to some people, but, being raised by a Black woman, right?
Yes.
To me, I got to experience what it's like being raised by God. Someone who is nurtured by a Black woman, there is nothing else like that in the world when you are nurtured by a Black woman.
Yes.
Nothing else like that in the world. And I'm not saying it in a way like everyone is divine. Everyone is divine. I'm not saying it in a way that something is better than the other, but I feel like people know deep down inside how powerful a Black woman is, and they just don't want us to know. And that was one of the things for me in writing Shallow Waters. This is my love letter to Black women. Yes. I wrote it for Black women. I wrote it for us to see. I wrote it for us to understand. There are so many different layers within this book. Yes, there are words, but there are so many things under those words that are awakening different parts of our DNA, that are healing different parts of our ancestry, that are helping us remember that we are gods, right?
Yes.
Because as soon as we truly remember who we are,
Ashe, ashe.
that's when we rise up. That's when we, like, there's the amount of gold and jewels that are, and pearls and that are inside of us. Ah. And I always laugh. I'll be like, I'm a demigod because I'm half white.
She's so light, Jesus. I love it.
Listen, I'm half God.
Half God. Wait, can you be half God, half mermaid then? Like, I don't know. But I don't understand. Okay, wait. Is your father German?
So my father is Polish.
Okay.
My father is Polish. That's where the last name comes from. Yes. And my parents met in England. So, you know, a lot of the Caribbean people,
yes,
they
ma'am.
go England, New York, you know, like England.
That's all they know. Wait, I love the island people, especially my Haitian father, and I have to share this. Everywhere in Florida is Miami. I had a conversation about this.
Yeah. It's me too. I'm just like your Haitian father. Everywhere in Florida is Miami. You going to Miami?
Wait. And then Anita, I never knew there were more cities outside of New York City in New York, because I thought it was like Brooklyn is New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up in Brooklyn, and for me, all my Haitians were like, that's it, Brooklyn, that's it.
That's it.
I said Brooklyn, that's it. So, you know, another connection we have, Anita, is the fact that I studied abroad in London, England. And I know all about the island people, which is predominantly Jamaican and Bahamian, going into England to work and earn their living, etc., and bring back to the families. And one of the things, and I'll never forget this, because I was like, there's so many connections with you. Like, it's insane. Psychology, molestation. Now we're talking about it, you know, speaking to the spirits, hearing from our ancestors. And I'll get into that another time, because I'm not brave enough yet to go into that. 40 years old, the grand, you know, rising of all of the truths. Now, the thing about the London thing is I didn't know there were island people like that I could hang out with in London until the last week or so. I have to go get my hair braided. I had to take off the wig, get the natural thing happening with the braids, a wash and a set. Somebody was like, there's a Jamaican spot down the road, you know, man, go get it. Go get the hair done there. And I'm like, what? Jamaican salon? And mind you, where I was living was between George and Brown Street. I was down the street from Buckingham Palace, like where we studied.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was everything. And when I get there, I'm like, finally, my people, I'm like kissing the ground. Black women in one place. I had not seen that the whole time I was there. And literally, she's like, yeah, let's go to the party. Like, you know, and she was literally inviting me to the party, and I had to be on another flight to like Switzerland or something. And I didn't have enough time to party with my island massive the way I wanted to. And
oh yeah, you would have had a ball. My cousins,
I can imagine.
They party.
Because I partied with the white folks in, you know, Trafalgar Square and Piccadilly, whatever. And it was like, if that was fun, I know.
It is. And you know, it's so funny. You made me think of my cousins in England, because like we were saying, you know, it runs in our families, right? You know, I remember when I was on the Drew Barrymore show, I was talking about just the magic, right? I was talking about how I've noticed, like, when I share something that I felt was magical, there's always Black people that come up to me after the show, like, you know, my auntie, you know, like, or my, you know, like the same thing happened, right? So it's like, wait a minute. I think there's so many in the family, and we kind of keep it hush hush. But my family's pretty loud about it, right? Because
Oh, wow.
we are pretty much, we call ourselves like the dream tribe, because we get a lot of information through our dreams. And I remember I was in England. This was now, because my daughter is about to turn 16, so this is probably 17 years ago.
Wow.
That a little over 16 years ago, where I was out, we were, like my cousin's passing out like drinks to everyone, and she was like, took the drink away from me, and she was like, oh, but you can't drink because you're pregnant. And I was like, what? She's like, I had a dream you were pregnant. And I was like, what?
But wait, were you?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
because we dream
I
of
didn't
the
know
fish.
yet.
We dream of the fish. We
Dream of fish.
the teeth,
Exactly.
the teeth falling out,
That's
the
death.
shoes, the shoes.
Yes. Yep. A wedding, all
The
kinds
wedding.
of dreams, like, and so she was like, I had a dream that you were pregnant. And I was like, wow. So, when someone in our family says it, we have Auntie Val, who always is on point,
Always.
knows everything. And so it's just very strong in the family. And I'm like, I imagine there's a lot of families like that. And maybe, maybe some people are trying to hide it, but I feel like as you get older, it's harder and harder to hide. Like, it's just like.
And I'll tell you this much, in my Haitian family, you could only imagine how powerful it is. And I have to pay homage to one in particular, an aunt who literally, I don't want to go too deep, but anyway, we would go to her for certain things. And she literally saw my future husband. This is my last fiance, no, my first fiance. I've been engaged 3 times. I'm married now. So the first fiance before, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was super young, and I went to her like, I'm tired of being alone, like, whatever. She saw the man's entire skin complexion, his bright red engine hair. He was white. And everything about him, and was like, you're going to be very happy, whatever. And I was like, there ain't no way. I've never met a redhead. Like, I've met one, back in the day or whatever. And it happened just the way she said it.
Wow.
Scared me to death, because when I first met him, we were at a club in Palm Beach, and literally he had
In Miami?
In Miami, Palm Beach, Miami. Anita, I love it. Palm Beach, Miami. And he had brown hair in the club. But the next morning, my boy had fire engine red hair. Wow. And he followed me to London, literally. And we went off to Paris within a month of knowing him. And he proposed like shortly thereafter. I was like, wow. However, we didn't get married. So that's because she saw, and I was like, and when she met him, she was like, told you.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense, Anita, as I'm speaking with you, the divinity of it all. Like, I could never grasp exactly how these things would happen, or why we were chosen for a lot of this, and why a lot of people imitate us. Let's be honest with ourselves. A lot of, and that's what brings me to tears, Anita, because they bring us down so much. They're always stabbing us in the back and beating us down and saying so many bad things about us, only to imitate everything we do and then take full credit. But again, YEMAYA has been quiet because she's been watching from the background, like, okay, because when it's my time,
yeah,
like Auntie did with the time.
And it's really gonna come up when the movie comes out too. Wait,
is this an exclusive on the AniYa show?
No. Well, I guess maybe that movie will come out, but I mean, even the Disney's movie.
Well, no, because this should be something wait a minute. This is almost like, okay, back it up. So which movie? Because I feel like
I'm thinking of the Little Mermaid. When the Little Mermaid actually really comes out, there's gonna be another rising, right? Like on both ends, there's gonna be people who are mad, and there's gonna be people who are so happy and celebrating, right? And more information is going to come out about YEMAYA, about La Serene, like Yemoja, like all of the different Mami Wata, right? Like all of the different versions we're going to learn about, because they'll be like, wait, there's Black mermaids, like
Right.
what?
Right? Because they hid it from us for so long and they knew the truth. You know what though? I see a movie in the works for Shallow Waters. So speaking of, it's that time because I don't want to shed another tear without Shallow Waters. It's out now.
Wait, can I take it? I'm going to take a picture of us. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. I love it. I love it. And as we're talking, I'm sharing with other people. So if I haven't gotten to your comments or questions, guys, please forgive me. This conversation definitely went a different way tonight. And I shared.
It went off the deep end.
It went off the deep end, literally into the deeps of the ocean. Literally, as we talk about Shallow Waters. And with your permission, can I just read a little bit of what Charlamagne the God said and everything on the cover of the book? So as you guys know, we're speaking with the one and only Anita Kopacz. Did I do it right? There we go.
Yes.
Thank you, sister. And she's actually a mother of 3, which I found out because there's a story I want to share real quick before I even read this. Charlamagne the God spoke with your son and gave you like praise, and your son laughed. Is that what I heard? Is that the story behind that?
He did. Yeah, because Charlamagne was just talking about Black women and how they should be respected and how we're basically all of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And Mayan just started laughing. I was like, really, Mayan? Really? He was probably 12 around that time, right?
Right.
And so I was just like, Mayan, listen, this is wisdom, but you know how kids can be.
12 years old, like trying to figure out, why are you telling me this about my beautiful mom? I know she's cool or whatever, but
yeah, like
yeah.
what? But I think that even subconsciously for him to see a Black man praising a Black woman is it's so important for him to see. And so I was glad that Charlamagne did that.
I love it. And I'm actually like doing a little picture of how many people are watching right now. They've joined tonight and I love it. That is so powerful, that story, because you know what? Charlamagne the God, I'm loving the new direction he's been taken when it comes to the Black woman. And I'm not going to go too far off on that, but all I had to do is say, thank God that he's gotten revelation and he's been doing his thing. And I heard that story and I was cracking up because they've had so many stories out about that brother. But then it's like he joined forces with like Tamika Mallory and yourself. And he's all of a sudden like, Black woman power. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm here for it. And and what is it? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, he is definitely consciously really supporting Black women right now. So
I'm here for it. Keep on doing it, brother. So I wanted to share. So Anita Kopacz, this is her book again, Shallow Waters. You all can go out and get it everywhere it's out. But real quick, it says Shallow Waters reminds us that there was something before us being enslaved here in America. And that's a direct quote from Charlamagne the God. Before we go too far into that, can you break down exactly why he would have said that in that moment?
Yeah, so I think that what he really wanted to preface was that our history doesn't start with slavery. It starts I mean, we are the original people, and so the history is so deep and so wide and so vast and so rich. And while this story does take place during slavery, I'm bringing in a character that is ancient, right? That has been around before. So her experience of being an enslaved African, I'll say basically a little bit about the book so this makes sense what I'm trying to say. So Shallow Waters takes place in the early 1800s, and it is about a Black mermaid, YEMAYA. And it starts off on the west coast of Africa, and it's like every other mermaid story where the mermaid falls in love with a human. So she falls in love with Obatala, a beautiful, he's also an Orisha, but they're both kind of humanized in this story.
Yes, they are.
She falls in love with a beautiful man, and then he is kidnapped by the slave ships and taken to the New World.
It's so deep.
And so this is, so YEMAYA follows. She has her own middle passage underwater. And when she gets to the New World, she realizes, oh my gosh, I can't get up on land. So she cocoons herself and turns herself into a human. Now don't worry, I'm not giving away a lot of the book.
Right.
But that is the premise, right? Because then she's looking for her love in a land where her skin color makes her a slave.
I started to read and I became so emotional because I could see everything she was experiencing through her eyes. And I'm not even fully where I need to be in the book, and I had to put it down because the emotions came out of me. And you're so right. Before this thing happened with us and the enslavement of our people, we already were, and we are, and we're going to be. And that's why I wanted you to break down for those that are reading or watching, even those that will read and now, because they will buy this book, because it's on the AniYa and you all will support. I already have a supporter saying she's going to buy Miss Modeling. She's like, powerful book, and she will check out the book. So she's already going to purchase and she will read it. I know her. I wanted to break that down because it's the first thing you see when you pick up this book. So I wanted you to explain to the people, what does that mean in the term without giving it away? Like, why would Charlamagne say something that powerful as the foreword? So, and as we know, this is a love letter to YEMAYA. And I wanted to also read on the back side, riveting and heartbreaking. That's from Publishers Weekly. I tell you, I was emotional too quickly into the book. Brilliant and original. And then, that was by Beverly Bond, CEO and founder of Black Girls Rock. Hey, hey. Spellbinding, a captivating debut, Harper's Bazaar. All of those tidbits give this book more life, and your courageousness and your compassion to share life through her eyes. And it's not the typical Disney type at all.
No, it's not.
At all. Within the first few pages, you're going to be like, oh my God, like I got to take a breather because it gets real quick. Right. Yeah. The mother, the father, like all of, I read and I had to close the book because I was just envisioning every bit of it because I'm a visual person. When you were creating the dynamic, and we're not going to give too much away, but the mother and father's part, that tore me up. And here goes the tears again. The reason it tore me up so bad was because I was envisioning us being ripped from our mothers and our fathers.
Yeah.
And the separation anxiety and the depression and all of these feelings that we never talk about. We're supposed to be so damn strong.
Yeah.
Can I ask if that was the idea behind that? Or, I mean, because it was just so powerful, like to read it and see it, like I said, through her eyes.
Yeah. And this is where I'm saying there's layers that I didn't even know that are in there, because as you say that, I didn't even think of that consciously, but that's exactly what it is. And so I did not consciously think of it. And so there were so many layers that YEMAYA brought in as she was telling me the story. I swear I felt like she was sitting right here, telling me this story, telling me about it. And she's such an interesting energy because while she was like, here, baby, this is a story for you to write, like kind of tasking me with it. There was also no pressure. It was the weirdest thing because it was just like, yes, this is for you to do. And whether you do it or not, like that's up to you. And so, but for me, I'm like, okay, well, I hear this. There's no way that I can't write it, right?
Right.
Like it's like when you hear the messages come through, it's like I have to say it, right? I have to write it. And so, but she was so patient with me, especially in those 2 years that I had writer's block.
Oh yeah,
It was
absolutely.
just like she was so patient. And I'm writing a sequel right now. So
Yes, honey.
that is coming through. So very in that process.
Well, I tell you no lie. That's, why I had to track you down, ma'am, and was like, can you please talk to your girl, AniYa? Because I'd like to get deeper. And it might be the psychologist in me, it might be the spiritual side, it might be my ancestors. It's a whole combination because I read that and that's what I saw and that's what I felt. And I feel like the reason why it was so effortless for you or like painless and things like that was because you had a mission. You had to do it. And for those that don't understand like this world of art and writing and spirituality, sometimes it's super easy because you got to get through it. If you think too hard, you're going to be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. Although I did have a few of those moments. I did. But when it was flowing for sure. But sometimes it was just like, oh my gosh.
It's just so beautiful. What do you want? What do you want others to know about you that we haven't touched? Because this within itself, a lot of people are not this deep. I swear. They're gonna look at me like, girl, why are you crying? I have somebody in my life, which we don't talk very often, and we're supposed to be a whole lot closer, mind you. And when I get emotional and I cry, especially about topics like this and stuff and different things that really move me, like she literally said, I don't get it. Why are you emotional? Like, why are you crying? And it's like, if I have to break this down, like I really don't have the time to explain to you how powerful this is. So the average Joe Schmo may not conceptualize, or when they read what you've written, they may not see it in my eyes at all. They probably have never gone through some of the things myself or you have gone through, Anita. So I give them a pass, right? Because it's not for everybody to see that deeply. But for those that know, we know. We be knowing. Right? So what else would you like the viewers and the listeners and those who will watch this after when it goes up on YouTube, what would you like them to know about you, this process, the ups and downs?
Yeah, for me, my intention when I wrote this book, it was for Black women to remember who we really are. And what I noticed in the process that was so beautiful was that there were Indigenous women reaching out, there were Latin women, there were white men, which was already, I was like, what?
What? No.
All these people saying that they remember who they are from this story. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so interesting. Like it was not the intention. This was for my sisters.
Right.
But, to me, it felt like it was so beautiful that it transcended itself. It transcended my own intentions. Right? Because to me, ultimately, if we're fully realized beings,
yes,
we really are all one.
We are.
We really are. But the thing is that if we try to just bypass all of our lessons and just be like, oh, we're all one, but you really don't believe we're all one,
right?
That I'm not really into that. But I do know that at the core of it we are all one.
Right.
So I
Absolutely.
love that this book transcended so many barriers
Hmm.
and spoke to so many different types of people.
I love that. I love that. And the fact that it touched the heartstrings of some of our white counterparts. You know, our, not all white people are racist, not all Black people are thugs, not the stigmas that are out there are just so asinine to me. So I'm glad you shared that about the white men that reached out. Some of them really feel bad about certain things that occurred to us, and some of them actually want to make a difference. I haven't met a whole lot, but I know quite a few. So I will say that. With that being said, because we could be here all night, Anita, like Paulita Webb says, good job, ladies. Thank you so much, my sister, and for everybody that's watching. I feel the energy, by the way. I feel the energy of the listeners, the viewers. And I told you, if we don't get a whole lot of comments and interruptions, it's literally because people are probably like, oh my God. Literally like, oh my God, because this is a lot deeper. And
It is a lot deeper than when we were thinking.
and now I see why it happened the way it did, because it always happens like that in my life, that I have to hear the message clearly, because it's not, this has never happened like this. And the last time something similar like this happened, it was with a particular guest who helped cure HIV/AIDS and never got his accolades, the beginning of the pandemic. And this brother literally, his name is Dr. Alim Muhammad, and they shut me down completely. There was over 1,000 people watching that night.
Wow.
That's how famous and popular this guy is. And Big Brother was like, nah, you're not going to give out more of this information. And my whole system crashed.
Wow.
So I know my viewers and I know the energies, and I have goosebumps sharing because I know what happened tonight. There's a great rising that's happening. I feel it all over me. The time is now. And funny enough, I have to share this because you said it. Drew Barrymore, funny stuff. Drew Barrymore is now in the same facility as Dr. Oz because they've moved. And my screensaver is me in front of Drew Barrymore's. I have to wait till the phone closes again. But my new screensaver is of me the last time I was on set for Dr. Oz, because I was a contributor for 7 years, that number 7 again.
Yes.
And I just figured out how to change these screen things on this iPhone thing. And that's the picture that was chosen to be on here.
Wow.
And Drew is in the background and I'm in front like, hey.
I love that.
I know. I'm just sitting here baffled when you said that about the Drew Barrymore show, because I don't even think I got to really watch. But I think you were and Charlamagne were interviewed on there.
Yes.
However, I didn't get a real chance to listen, because I have to share this too in regards to the interview with the psychologist with Yadi on that platform, the sister with the beautiful gray hair, and then Queen Afua, and you had your sweatshirt on. That threw me out. That threw me out. That I was done after that. The power that came from that interview, sister, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was a powerful interview.
It was. Tonight was definitely a spiritual awakening. I'm so glad that we did this. I'm so happy for the interruption, because it gave us a minute to talk, and for you to give me strength. You oh, there it is, real quick before it dies down again. I don't know if you can see the background.
Oh, I can't see the background.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there. I saw it for a second.
Do you see the yellow D with Drew's face?
Oh, yes, I do. I did. Yep.
That's in that studio. And I literally was like, so people can know that Drew is on the same floor as Dr. Oz, and I was here. I did a picture of that moment. And that's the screenshot that is now on my page, on my phone for the past few weeks. And
Of course.
Um, it's beyond me at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to also share again about this beautiful woman's platform for the retreat. I have to shout that out again. I'm going to see if that will pop up in the interim. Please do, because I know people are watching and people are going to sign up, and I'm going to share that on my page a number of times. But can you share real quick about that retreat that I desperately want to be a part of and go to?
Yes.
We know my
Yes.
situation. Oh my God.
I know.
Oh.
So it's the Goddess Wisdom Council, and it's me and three other women. One is Yadi, who we were talking about with the story with Charlamagne. So she's Charlamagne's purpose coach, along with I can't say as many people. She works with a lot of powerful people, but I can only share the ones who have disclosed right to the public that they've worked with Yadi. So Charlamagne, Angela Rye, I don't know if any others have, but she's basically works with a lot of the people who are doing powerful things in this world. So she helps people find their purpose, what they're really here for. And so that's Yadi. And then there's my sister, Ivana, who does a lot of dream work with people, because we were talking about how we're from the Dream Tribe.
Yep, Dream Tribe. Yeah.
She is a yoga instructor and an embodiment coach. And then there's Cora, who works with people to stay in the present moment. And she has just amazing workshops that bring us into the present moment. And I do Tantra, so sacred sensuality, and a lot of work with the ancestors. And within these retreats, this retreat is a weekend retreat, so it's one of the shorter ones. We usually do long ones all around the world, Bali, Mexico, and they are in between 8 to 10 days. This one is a weekend retreat, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of people were asking for a retreat that they can go to without missing work, right? Missing too much work and not traveling so far, not having to need a passport. And so this is the one that we created, and it is going to be so powerful and so beautiful. The people who are already coming are amazing. And we've kept it at 1,500. That doesn't include, the hotel, but it's like usually the retreats are a lot more expensive than that.
Oh,
and
wow.
We want to keep it at a number that that could be doable, especially if people are paying in payments, and like something that is doable. And so it's going to be so powerful. Once people take it, they're always like, oh my gosh, I would pay $1 million for this if I had it, right? Like, because it's the energy. I think what is, oh yes, oh there it is. So this is the Rebirth Retreat, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be powerful. There's going to be amazing people there. You're going to meet people who this is us, me, Yadi, my sister Ivana, and Cora. And this is where it's going to be, where we're going to do yoga and all the workshops. And there won't be as many things. Well, we will go out into nature. I'm trying to figure out how to get you there.
And that's maybe something that I need to work on. I don't know why. So I'll put it out there for those that are probably wondering, what are we talking about here? So AniYa has a super rare condition, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Since I've been sharing tonight, why not?
Why not? You might as well.
Because people often hear me share a little bit. For those that wonder, right? You'll never see me out in grass. You'll never see me near trees, because, and not even the weed, like the trees, right? Because I have a super rare condition, and in 2007, and I'll share more with you too. When I felt ill in 2007, I died and came back to life twice. I had a pulmonary embolism, I had nephrotic syndrome, and I had pitting edema. And just a quick synopsis of what that means is my body started to swell uncontrollably. I gained 60 pounds in less than 6 months, and then like 40 pounds in 24 hours because my body could not get rid of the fluids. And I drowned in my own fluids basically and died of a blood clot in my lung. And right when the doctors were going to, and I saw the white light. I saw the white light.
Yeah.
I saw it twice. And at the second time, I was speaking with a doctor. For those that wonder, right, why I'm so deep and why I help everybody and I do what I do, because I saw the white light, I started speaking with the doctor to ask him what was wrong with me because I never knew, because no doctors could figure it out. After every single doctor I went to at 25 years old, it was like, you're super sick, and they kept misdiagnosing me because they never saw a young person with my condition. Like people with my condition are like 80 years old. And so basically, I died. I started speaking to the doctor, right, Anita? And when I started speaking to that doctor, the doctor explained my medical condition, and being super vain and a former model and an actress, all I could care about at that time was my weight. Like, how much do I weigh now? Because I never was over 200 pounds. And at that moment that the doctor was explaining everything, I couldn't understand medical terminologies anyway. I'm 25. I'm a producer at the time and an on-air personality, right? Like, who knows anything about medical stuff? And I thought old people got sick and died.
Yeah.
So he was like, you're 234 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And I already had been gaining because my body could not release the fluids. And then so it was at that point my heart stopped because I had never been that fat before. And no shame to anybody overweight, but my body could not handle it because I was not accustomed to it.
Well,
And
it was fluids. It wasn't even
fat.
my weight. Yeah.
Because the nephrotic syndrome is the kidney shutting down. And then the blood clot was formulated and traveling for so long, but nobody could catch it because they didn't know.
Wow.
And because of the way medical insurance was, during these times, young people got sick, but nobody knew. And like, they wouldn't even treat you because you didn't have medical insurance. I didn't have medical insurance because I was young and I was like thinking I would never get sick, like worked, but who would pay into something that you don't think? I don't know. But like, maybe people need to learn about the body more or medical stuff because it's really a big thing. Well, fast forward, all that happened and I kept getting sick, kept eating shrimps, and I kept being in the grass because I lived in South Florida and I kept being around trees and pollen and everything. And I had to escape to come back to New York City to get medical treatment because my body kept deteriorating. And long story short, when the doctors did a strip test, a skin strip test, they put these strips on your back. I have pictures of it and everything. It's insane. When they peeled them off after 3 days, they found out that I'm allergic to grass, pollen, trees, anything in Mother Nature, including like the sun. Like I can't even be in the sun that long because my body, they talk about this type of stuff on TV, but you never think it's real.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because who doesn't want to be out in Mother Nature? Who doesn't want to be around the trees that give us oxygen? So maybe I need some kind of healing to help me get back into spaces because it's frustrating because you're so rare. And even when the doctors pulled off the tape, they were like, what the hell? Like the doctor almost started cursing because he's like, who are you? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm like, you're the doctor, but I told you I have like a rare condition. I just don't know what's wrong. And one of the first things is I can't even eat shellfish, like either from the ocean, which we're talking about the ocean now.
The ocean, all of Mother Nature. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's a little bit of my story there. And as a healer and a spiritual psychologist, I may need to I told you that in the inbox, I may need to hire you or come up, and because it doesn't make sense. And that's how I ended up on the Dr. Oz show, because I was like, Dr. Oz, please help me. Like my life is just out of control. But God has been good to me. So these are like sad but happy tears. And I know I'm going to be healed. And I hope there's a way that I can come out to a retreat because I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing all the things that we see. I'm tired of Black women having to pretend that we're just so strong. I'm tired of not making it where I want to make it. And I know that powerful people like yourselves, you have what I'm looking for. And also, you know how to get us, people like myself, to that next level. And I know that for sure because it happened with Tony Robbins for a little bit, but he's a white male. He's not a Black woman. He's not a Mexican woman. He's not a woman, period.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yes.
he doesn't bleed, like, period, bleed. Like, you know, he doesn't know like that part of the whole
Of the story.
of the story. But
He is pretty amazing. He is pretty amazing, but you're right. There's different layers, right? That he doesn't know.
And just hearing you, and when you were on stage that evening, the minute I walked in was the minute, because I got there a little tardy, because I didn't know what was going on. Like I usually just don't know what's happening. I just show up to stuff, you know. And I didn't know who you were, Anita. And I walked in and you're talking about the voices, and you're talking about, you know, being from the islands, I think, and just, you know, the water. And I'm like, wait, who is this woman and what's going on? But I didn't know exactly where you were from until I went to you at the table and I was like, where are you really from?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't remember that, but I was like, sis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. This has been amazing.
Amazing. How do people stay in touch with you, Anita? Because we could be here, like I said, all night, but I know we have...
So we do have the monthly calls as well with the Goddess Wisdom Council. It's like $44 a month. You come on, it's like group coaching. And so that's an awesome way to stay in touch, to be able to work with me personally. I don't do any I don't have private clients anymore. So retreats and the calls are the way to work with me.
Got you.
And you know, so you come on the retreats. My Instagram is what I use mostly, which is my name, Anita Kopacz, ANITA KOPACZ. So yes. Oh, testimonials. Yes.
Yeah. And I love the water in the background. Look at that. On the phone, it doesn't do that. On the laptop, it does.
The laptop shows the
all so
these
beautiful.
magical women.
Magical women. And for and then just last question. So is this the same sister that did your voiceover? Who's a part of it?
No, that's a different sister. So I have 6 sisters. There's 7 of us. There's 7 sisters. All sisters.
Oh God.
And so the one who did the voice for the book is my sister Michelle.
Wow. You know, that's a whole nother story, because having all them sisters, I know you have stories for days.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Oh my God. Well, Anita Kopacz, I just love this picture of you. I mean, it just, you know, if YEMAYA was in a human form, I feel like she would resemble this picture, like the glowing, the beauty, the strength of this picture. I swear, like, it's just, I love this picture of you. I really do. I really do. You're welcome. And I have your bio right there. Well, you all listen, we had a late start, but it was necessary for healing, for growth, for power, for confessions. Oh, you know what I'll do as we're shutting down? I'll share each part of the beautiful women that are affiliated with Miss Anita Kopacz. This is Miss Cora. This is Miss Yadi, who we've been talking about. And then of course, this is Ivana. Right? Yes. Kopacz, right. So this is all of them right here. Beautiful. They look like somebody's music group. I love it. With the black. I'm here for it, sisters. Yes. I love it. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because I know people are going to come back and they're going to share their healing stories with me, and I'll be able to share them with you, Miss Anita. But if you all want to get in contact with Miss Anita, she shared with you tonight where to reach out to her. I definitely think I'm going to take a lesson session, something call something, because I might not be able to get into Mother Nature right away, but I can start where I am because I need more strength, more power to do what God has destined me to do. And tonight was a great start. Tonight, I revealed something that I had never revealed as we discussed something that's super beyond us. It's about us. It's for us. This book is about us. It's for us. I encourage every one of you to go out. And you see, I got my little note. I don't have the regular bookmark. Thank you. I be putting the pieces of paper with the notes in it because I have to remember where I'm at. So let me take that out real quick so y'all don't see my little notes. But this is the one and only Anita Kopac's book. It is Shallow Waters, and it's a love letter to YEMAYA. For those that are just tuning in, I see you, Luigi 350. Thank you for joining. Thank you all for watching. I want you all to go and grab this book. It's a Simon & Schuster book, but the publishing is Black privilege, which that's a whole nother subject with Mr. Charlamagne the God. And Anita, tell the people where they can actually get this book too.
Yes, you can get it at anywhere books are sold, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target. But also, I think, really going to a Black-owned independent bookstore is an awesome way to support the bookstores.
I feel like, hold on, I have an actual, wait a minute, it was a bookmark from the Black Book Publishing Company that did the actual event the other night.
Oh yes, that's right.
I had it here, and of course in the mess of everything, I think it's called Green Point, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so.
Green Point. Let's shout them out. That sounds familiar because I feel like I just saw it, but trying to get oh, I found it. Look at God.
Yes.
This is a bookmark.
Green light
bookstore. Let's shout them out. Green Light Bookstore. I love that. In Brooklyn, there's 2 locations, Fort Greene and Flatbush. You guys can look them up for yourself, but there's 2 locations, Green Light. Look at that. And I will start using this instead of my raggedy piece of paper. I have to finish this book. Anita, I have to finish it. I have to be strong. I have to be stronger. I have to do it. And I will enjoy for sure. And I don't have any words to describe how thankful I am for you. And I'm going to show you what you look like on my big screen right now so you can see how big this TV is. That's why I keep looking up because I forget the little camera here. Anita, you look so beautiful on this massive screen, and I'm going to show you now. So this is what you look like here. And I'm like so far away. I don't know if you could see that, but it's like I have a big old conference room table in front of me and all that, but you're like super massive and you look so great. You're glowing in this, and I'm in awe of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you look beautiful. You showed out with your YEMAYA colors.
Is this her colors?
Blue. Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite color. Do you see that? Do you?
Yes. Yeah. And look at the blue jewel with the pearls. You're all YEMAYA right now.
What? Yes. I had no idea.
Yeah.
We're going to get on a call. I'm going to pay for a session ASAP. I just need you to fill me in more, and I will fill you in on some stuff. I mentioned the name Frida. Remember that. Remember another name, Demeple. Remember that.
Demeple. All right.
And I'll tell you a lot more about my background.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Do you want to close us out with a quote, a prayer, a spiritual, anything, my love?
Love the fuck out of yourself.
Yes, I'll take it. And there you have it, folks. 0 fucks giving. Love the fuck out of yourself. We will. We got it. We're on it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.